morning, guys. How you doing? Dr. Rob, the addiction doctor here, live in San Antonio, Texas. Good to see you all, guys. Thank you for waiting. There they come. They're all coming on now. Thank you so much for waiting, guys. I hope you had a fantastic week. I'm here drinking coffee this morning. Crazy day, by the way. Back to back to back to back. Dr. Eddie's on the show. I know some of you have already messaged in. Thank you for doing that. Dr. Eddie's absolutely amazing. I love the guy. I have, I think, one or two of his books in the line to read. But yeah, great week this week. I did a couple of pieces this week. You probably know, guys. I did the. I've already done it. It was the piece for Harvard University's McLean Hospital, the psychiatric hospital there. We did a great piece there, and some other universities that I did, because usually around about March, coming up to the end of March, is usually our quiet time. But as usually, to about 10 days ago, obviously, we started taking patients back on again, and we're almost full right now. So if you do need help for whatever reason, still call us. We're going to bump you over to Dr. Eddie, and he will sort you out, because he's probably one of the few people that I would trust with my patients. So what else has happened this week? Absolutely sunny here in San Antonio. 90 degrees yesterday, would you believe? And it was only March. April the 1st, it isn't a joke. We are amazing. We're here right in your face like every single week. I apologize for the time change. I know our usual time is 12 o'clock. It's now 20 past 11, so we're a little bit late. Apart from that, got my sister coming over, Sandra Marley and Peter Marley, over there in just outside Manchester, England. They'll be coming to visit a week tomorrow. I said to her, how long do you want to visit for? Thinking everyone comes over for a week. She says 3 weeks, so she's coming over. It'll be absolutely amazing. Maybe we're going to get her on the show. Who knows? She's not. I know Peter will definitely be on the show. So Peter Marley, if you're listening to this, make sure you shave and have that hair all good as you come on. So Dr. Eddie's on the show, guys. What an amazing guy. Straight after this, stick around, please. Something amazing is coming. Welcome back to the show, guys. Dr. Rob, the addiction doctor here, live in San Antonio, going out to the world. And Dr. Eddie's on the show. Good morning, Dr. Eddie. How are you?
Good morning, Dr. Rob. I am blessed and doing better than I deserve.
So what I was surprised at, and I don't know why I say this, because obviously, first of all, I was just quickly looking at your website. You just have to put Eddie C and bang, your name comes up, which I love, because you just put Dr. R and my name comes up. So obviously You're well renowned. Everyone knows who you are. But the strange thing is, as I posted yesterday that you're going to be on the show, the amount of people that text me straight away that follow you and actually know what you do, because we've all heard of the name, but actually what you do was insane. So today's going to be amazing. Just for those who don't know who you are, tell us people what you do, who you are, and what life's all about.
Absolutely. I am a licensed professional counselor, and I'm certified, and I practice in the area of treating people who suffer with sexual addiction and pornography addiction. I've been in my practice now for about 10 years. We're located in Highland, North Carolina, a sleepy little town that is just beautiful. Living here in the rainforest. My wife is part of our practice. I deal with men exclusively in dealing with their addictive behavior, as well as trying to help them to grow emotionally. Because many men who deal with, or people who deal with addictions, like you well know, they're emotionally undeveloped. They have a low emotional IQ. They struggle to be able to sit with that emotional discomfort. So that's a lot of what I do. And also, I'm the author of 3 books that I've written. My latest one is Why Men Struggle to Love, and that is about again, that emotionally undeveloped man, how he was created, and what he could do to repair himself.
So would you say that porn addiction and sex addiction are anything like drug addiction and alcoholism pertaining to the brain?
Yeah, Dr. Rob, I believe there's a similarity between all of them. And I go back and I look at three core components. And again, there's other factors that play in, but I think there's three. I think one is unresolved childhood pain points, traumas, neglect, different things that we went through that have never really been sorted through and processed. Two, the inability to sit with emotional discomfort. Can't sit with pain. So what do I learn to do? I learn to run away from it.
Mm.
And how do I do that? I learn to distract myself. So we can find many different types of distraction. And then finally, the last aspect that I think is goes back to again the idea of being emotionally undeveloped and not being able to formulate those solid emotional relationships that are so critical to keep people happy, engaged, and feeling fulfilled.
Wow, that's emotionally. Wow. So what does it look like when somebody comes to you emotionally undeveloped? I mean, what symptoms would they show, actions or behavior?
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you asked that question because it's a good one. You know, a person who's emotionally undeveloped is going to lack empathy. They're going to have little trust in other people. They're going to be more inwardly focused. And the reason they're inwardly focused, again, is because not receiving what they needed to receive in the way of guidance and instruction in their early childhood years of how to be able to emotionally connect, they turn inward because they feel there's nobody there for me. There's nobody who's going to be able to help me. So therefore, they're in their own head, and that's where they stay most of the time. They lack mindfulness. Okay, they have a low emotional IQ. I can go on and on. And what I've actually done, what I've just been mentioning to you, are what I call the 14 blind spots that men have that prevent them from having those types of relationships.
And how does one treat that? I mean, obviously, it's over a period of time, but how do you start to treat that? I mean, do men when they come to you believe that they could solve this problem with you, or I mean, how does that work?
Well, you know, it's really interesting, Dr. Rob, is that with a lot of the men who come to me at the beginning don't even realize they have that problem.
Yeah.
Okay, they're looking at their addiction problem and they're seeing that, but they don't understand, okay, what was the driver behind the addiction? I don't know about you, but I'm a big why guy. Okay,
Mhm.
of course, you know, in the counseling world, psychiatric world, we're trained don't ask why questions because if
Mhm.
you ask why questions, it makes it seem like you're making accusations
Mm.
at people. I'm sorry, but I just don't buy into it because I think what I want to do is I want to know why. Why do you think, feel, and act the way you do? And I want you to understand that. And why do I want you to understand that? Because I believe that empowers you. It
Mm.
empowers you to make real decisions. And it helps you because now, why, David? You have all this insight. And that's what treating these people is about. It's about insight. I want them to know how did I get hardwired this way? And now, okay, there is a chance to manage all of this. So what we do is we'll go back to all of the blind spots and we start taking them one at a time. And again, most people of the 14, they probably have anywhere between 7 and 10 that they're dealing with. And what we do, we take them one at a time and help them to start to develop the emotional skills that they should have been taught again back in the early stages of childhood development.
So, bearing in mind what you do today, what about your uh, addiction? I mean, was sexual? Was it porn? Was it?
Yeah, my addiction started out. I stumbled across porn when I was just about 13. And when I started dating, when I was about 15 or so, I found that, you know what, having one girlfriend wasn't enough. I
Mm,
needed more.
mm,
And I didn't understand what that was about, but I just thought, okay, this is me. I have raging hormones or whatever it is. And, but as I got older, and then I found a woman who I thought, okay, this is the woman of my dreams, and I'm gonna, we got married. I found myself straying once again.
Mm.
It just wasn't enough. And that happened to me in 2 marriages. And finally, after the second one, I was like, you know what? This is insane. I can't keep doing this anymore. I got to figure out what it was. Well, you're going back to the, like, early 19, it's like 1990 or so. And sex addiction just starting to come into its
Mm.
own. So there's
Mm.
nobody really talking about that. So I went to a counselor who specialized in relationship and attachment disorders. And that's what I discovered I had. I was in avoidant attachment. And the reason being, my dad died when I was 5. My mother had a nervous breakdown. So therefore, the 4 kids, I was the third in line. We all got shipped out to these relatives, each of us individually, that I didn't know. I didn't know who these people were. So now I'm with all these strangers, and it took a year for us to get back when mom gets healthy. So therefore, my worldview were that, you know what, the people who love you will leave you. The people who love you can't be trusted. So
Mm.
when I in any relationship I was in, I was 1 foot in and I was 1 foot out. I could never fully commit. But see, I didn't understand that. I was oblivious to all of it. I was just what called my friends called the skirt chaser.
Mm.
Okay, and I
Mm.
wore that badge with some pride over
Yeah.
the years.
Yeah.
But then what happened ultimately is 25 years ago, I met my current wife. And again, knowing the knowledge that I had, I was able to, again, for all this time, be faithful to her. Not something you should have to brag about,
Mm.
but, you know, it's
Mm.
a difference. It's a big difference.
There is. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. So when you decided that you needed to address your problems, when you was going back and addressing them, did you find that trauma played a huge part in your
It,
journey?
it, yes, it did. The trauma of losing a parent, the trauma of a parent becoming ill and not being able to help you,
Mm.
the trauma of being sent away to
Mm.
people who I had no idea who these folks were. Okay.
Mm.
Yes, all of those traumas, what they did was they put fear in me. The fear that, you know what, people will leave me, they will abandon me, people don't like me. Okay. I developed my own
Yeah.
insecurities.
Yeah.
Like there must be something wrong
Mm.
that my parents would send me away and not be with me. And so, yes, so therefore, not wanting to deal with any of those kind of emotions when I was faced with them, if I ever got in a situation where I felt like, oh, my friends abandoned me
Mm.
for a time, or I felt like I wasn't cared for,
Mm.
I didn't want to sit with that. So I
Mm.
learned to run away, first to pornography, and then to sex with, you know, with women in a promiscuous way.
If you were people that are listening now, we talk about abandonment, which obviously was rife in your early childhood with dad going at the age of 5 and mum having a breakdown. How did abandonment play out in your later life in the 30s and 40s, or had you addressed it by then?
No, I hadn't addressed it by then. I didn't address it until I was in actually my late 30s. And
Mm.
the way it played out was still that same coping mechanism I created at a very young age when I started dating. Don't get fully attached to anyone.
Mm. Wow. Yeah.
Do not let them all the way in. So see, I had the wall up, Dr. Rob was the wall. And therefore, women could come to this part of the wall, but they couldn't come inside.
Mm.
And for me, I was like this idea, and again, I don't know any of this at the time, but it's like, you know what? I can love you just as well if you're out here than
Yeah.
when you're in here.
Yeah.
Because if I let you in here, I give you the power to hurt me.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do that.
That's huge. Absolutely huge. Um, so when you decided going through life that you wanted to help others going through this, what's the first thing you did?
Well, the first thing I did was to go back to school to get another master's degree
Yeah.
because I was in the corporate world for years and in marketing advertising. So I had to go back to school, get my education, do all the state work, do all the supervision. And then it was really kind of funny in a way. I opened up a practice and I was a generalist. I'm just
Mm.
going to treat everybody and anybody, whatever I've been trained in. And then all of a sudden, these guys start coming into my office,
Mm.
and I'm like, my God, these guys look like me.
Mm.
They're dealing with the same problems I've had. From whether it's pornography, whether it's other sexual problematic behavior, or it was also the again being emotionally undeveloped. And that's when I'm saying, okay, now I know what my call is. I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm.
And I went back and I got other certifications in the area of sexual addiction. And as I said, since then it has just multiplied with the books and the different appearances and all of that.
If someone's listening at home right now and they think they have a porn addiction, what advice do you give them?
Well, the first thing the first piece of advice is to have the courage to take it out of the dark and bring it into the light. Talk to someone. I mean, Dr. Rob, you know that, right? I
Mhm.
mean, that's got to be the first step. If you don't sit and realize and say, you know what, I cannot continue to isolate myself here.
Yeah.
I have to admit I have a problem and I have to turn to someone, anybody, just to talk about it, to bring it out there. And then once you do that, then what you do is you go and you seek the guidance of a skilled professional. You're looking for someone who has training in the area of these disorders, and you also want to get into community.
Mm.
Support groups are critical. The lone wolf will fail. They fail every time. So those are the starting blocks that I think it would get people to get going.
I like that. I really do. Guys, Eddie, Dr. Eddie's on the show. Give me 1 second. Take 12 radios here, guys. It's not an advertisement. It's just something that we love. We love him. I have an hour on there every month called the Dr. Rob Hours. So Monty is an amazing guy. Take a quick look, guys. Take12radio.com, take12radio.com. Jump on there. There's some amazing shows, some amazing guests, and I'm on there once a week. Dr. Eddie, so good to have you on the show, man. Talk to me about the books because I know that I was doing some work over in a studio down LA, and a very famous doctor, TV doctor, walked over, and he was carrying one of Eddie's books, and I was like, "Oh my God, I've got to tell him! I've got to tell him!" And I did. So tell me about the books you have out, and what's the first one
Yeah.
you had out?
When you told me about that story, I was just like totally blown away for something like that. The first book, well, there's a book about shame that I wrote, but the book I want to really talk about is the two of them. One, Going Deeper, how the inner child impacts your sexual addiction.
Mm.
And that's what it's about. Because again, I go back to the idea of unresolved childhood pain points, our inner child who's locked in this time warp of all the various traumas and neglect we had, who is activated when a negative event occurs in our life today that he correlates with something from the past. And what that does, us not being aware of it, not sitting with the distress, because what it's done is increase our distress when he's activated. And what do? We just go run off to distract ourselves with something that, again, is going to be hurtful. The the book that just came out in January, which has been kind of blown away about how well received it's been and the sales thus far of it, and that's called Why Men Struggle to Love. Overcoming relational blind spots, and this goes back to the idea again of the men who do not have that core to emotionally connect.
Mm.
And what I did in all my research over the years, Dr. Rob, was I found that, you know what, there are elements of our life that we are supposed to in our early childhood development. that we are supposed to go through. Our parents are supposed to walk us through that. So, for example, trust. We're supposed to learn how to trust people. So, how do we learn to trust? How does a child do that? Well, a child does that by being able to go out to explore, but to know if I turn to look back, that my parents are still going to be there. See, I lack the trust in people. Okay, one day I'm with these strangers and my parents aren't there, and nobody's telling me what's going on.
Yeah.
So immediately I develop a mistrust in people. We're supposed to be taught how to emotionally regulate ourselves. Again, as kids, we get all these emotions. And then it's like, all right, how do I handle them? I don't even know what they are. So, what's the emotion that you'll see mostly coming out of a child? And that is anger or sadness. And so, therefore, it's very important for parents to put word to emotions in order to treat kids. Empathy. We're supposed to be taught how we can look outward to see a problem that someone else may be dealing with and how we can, start to have empathy for them. And for many people who deal with addictive behavior, empathy is a word that just doesn't exist in their vocabulary. Attunement. Okay, being able to figure out, what's going on with little Bobby or little Susie today. He seems off. He seems rather sad. Let me go and find out what's happening. And then finally, the idea again of sitting with emotional distress. If somebody doesn't show us how to do that, I'm now spending the rest of my life running away from anything that causes me any type of distress. And where am I going to run? I'm going to run someplace where, again, I can forget about what I'm feeling because I don't want to feel it. And most likely it's going to be something that's going to be destructive. So that's what the second book is about, why men struggle to love. The point is, Rob, that they're oblivious. These guys are oblivious. They don't understand. Most women look at men who don't have those emotional capabilities, and they say, "Boy, what are you? You're just ignorant. You're rude. You're inconsiderate." No, that's not it. They're oblivious. They don't know what they're missing. We don't know what we don't know, and they have to be educated about it.
That's so powerful. It really is, because the amount of people that I've seen where husbands have not been emotionally available, that really comes out later on in the relationship once you've all committed to something. That's really interesting. How much research have you done on porn being not so much about sex or control, or is it about violence, or is it about being in charge? What's all that about when a man is addicted to that porn? Is it the actual sex act, or is it more than that?
Yeah, it is not porn. Having a porn addiction or sex addiction is not about sex.
Wow.
It is an intimacy disorder. People are chasing something. Take my story for a moment. Okay, here I am. I'm a womanizer. Why am I chasing all these women? Well, I'm thinking that, oh, you know what? It's just the sex aspect of it. It wasn't. What I was hungry for was true emotional intimacy. The problem was, Dr. Rob, is that I confused physical intimacy for emotional intimacy. So
Wow.
I kept chasing it, trying to figure, oh, I'm going to find the right woman who, it's all going to click. But it never did. There was this void. There's always a void. Everyone who deals with any kind of an addiction, there's a void that they're trying to fill. And most of the time, that void surrounds emotional pain that they're unaware of or that they have never took the time to fully process.
And guys, you keep seeing me looking down. I'm taking notes here for the first time since I started this show, because this stuff I'm finding really fascinating. I think you just keep talking for the next 10 hours. I'm going to be taking notes. I'm speechless, especially on the porn and the sex addiction. intimacy disorder. Oh my, that just blew my mind, Dr. Ed. It was just like, it is. Oh my God, it is. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
But
and that's why, Dr. Rob, I go back to again, understanding why.
mm,
Why do I do, think, and feel the way I do? So that I could understand it. Because for me, after a while, I thought, you know what, I'm just a horrible man who just wants to go out and use these women, which, yeah, I did. There's no doubt about that.
yeah.
But that wasn't the rationale. The rationale was all of the trauma pain points that I had that I wasn't aware that still haunted me today. It haunted me back then. And therefore, people have to go back, look at these, process them. So therefore, again, that's not going away. Okay, the pain of my dad dying, my mom being ill and being sent off, that never fully goes away. But with the help I got, it helped to dissipate those. It helped to desensitize those. So now being aware that I struggle with the idea of abandonment. I struggle with the sense that if I feel I'm rejected. When I see those type of events happen, I slow everything down and I go in and I start to process it to say, okay, wait a second, we're not back home anymore. Okay, I'm talking to my kid. He's stuck in this area again where everything he does is based on emotions.
Yeah.
It's all emotionally charged. I need to slow things down so that I can go to rational or wise mind thinking. And if I do that, then I could take whatever emotional distress he has and I could quiet it down and I could look at things differently. And then most likely, I'm going to make healthier decisions.
Wow. Unbelievable. Absolutely. I know we met on a board that we were on for a
Mm-hmm.
certain charity thing, which is amazing. But I have to admit, you're probably one of the most knowledgeable people around porn and sex addiction that I've ever spoke to. Because all
Well,
that is, you know when someone's good because when they say something, it not only hits at home, but it also makes sense. You're going, damn, of course. Well, yeah, of course. That's exactly what it is. Absolutely
well,
phenomenal.
thank you. I appreciate that compliment, especially coming from somebody like you who also is well, renowned in his field.
Well, I just cannot and will not take anybody on with any sort of porn or sex addiction. I don't know anything about it, but I'm definitely going to be bouncing it your way, Dr. Eddie, all the time because that's just I don't know, it's phenomenal, man. Where can people find you if they want to get in touch with you?
Well, there's a couple things they could do. You've been running a website down there. That's my for my practice. But if they want to learn more about the inner child, they can go to www.innerchild-sexaddiction.com. Again, that's innerchild-sexaddiction.com. If they want to learn more about the emotionally undeveloped man, they can go to www.strugglingmen.org. Again, that's strugglingmen.org. And they'll find information there. The books are all available exclusively on Amazon. And my email, in case people right now, I'll tell you, just like you, I am not taking new clients at this time. I haven't taken new clients for a while. However, what I've done is I've trained a network of clinicians on the inner child model that I
Mm,
created. So therefore, if people are interested in that, they can reach out to me at edcappa@gmail.com. Again, that's edcappa@gmail.com. And I will be able to send them referrals and they will be in excellent hands.
excellent. I love it. Before we finish, we just started something new, which I think is interesting. We got a quick fire ready for you, Dr. Eddie.
Okay.
So people can
Okay.
just find out a little bit more about you. Okay, here we go. Favorite color,
Purple.
favorite actor,
Actor. Oh, I'm drawing a blank on him. Come on. He's the method actor. I'm just gonna go Tom Cruise for now. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Tom Cruise. Favorite movie?
It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, yes. What would be, or have you driving your dream car?
Yeah, I'm not I'm not a really car buff to tell you the truth.
No
I
problem.
love my Jeep. I love my
Oh,
Jeeps.
yeah,
You know, I've been driving Jeep for almost 30 years now. I don't
love
think
it.
I'll ever move away from them.
Excellent. What's your favorite band or musician?
Oh, Queen.
Oh, yes, I love Queen. I know Freddie. I used to know Freddie. What's your favorite comedian?
Well, I want now. I want to jump out and just say Chris Rock because of what happened to the guy.
Oh, so true.
You know what? I feel so bad for him.
And if you can go back to the age of 16, what would you tell yourself?
Oh my gosh. I tell myself that there are things that have happened in the past that are still going to haunt you now, and we need to try to figure out what those are so that we can wind up living a different kind of life and not hurting as many people as we have.
I love that. Thank you once again, Dr. Eddie, for being on the show. Just a font of knowledge when it comes to sex and porn addiction. Absolutely blown away. I've really enjoyed our time. The only problem is I've got to have you on again, man. Got to have
Hey,
you on again
you know
because
what? I will always clear my schedule for you, Dr. Rob.
oh man, that is so kind. Guys, Abundant Life Counseling at the bottom there, you can see ga.com. You can send me a message for Dr. Eddie. He's not taking any more clients, but a bunch of information. Jump onto Amazon, search his books out, buy the book. Such an amazing guy. Email, you've got the email address. It will be in the show notes. But for now, Dr. Eddie, thank you so much indeed. It's absolutely awesome.
Thank you. God bless you.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Welcome to the back end of the show. Just finishing some stuff off here. Dr. Eddie is such an amazing guy. He shocked me with some of the stuff he come out with. It just makes so much sense when I look at it. And also looking at the cross addictions across the line when I've encountered this. And to be honest, like I say, the intimacy disorder and the pain and stuff like that is like why men are so unavailable emotionally, which with addiction, it's always obviously going back to trauma and childhood. But the way you link it in there makes so much sense. And of course, sex addiction and porn addiction is not got a lot to do with the actual sex act itself, which is mind blowing. I kind of had a little bit of an inkling, but such an amazing guy, man. I'm telling you. I have bunches and bunches of guys wanting to come on the show, but I remember saying to Courtney, who's the media girl, thank you so much, by the way. Courtney, the producer of this show, thank you. Big shout out to her. There's the number if you want to be on. Jump. There is a waiting list, but if you want to be on there, great. But I remember asking her, can you go after Dr. Eddie? Because we've got to have him on the show. And she did a great job there going after her. Just a side note, guys. Daddy, Please Stop Drinking is for sale on Amazon. Every dime spent on that book, I think it's $9, goes back out to the community, not just the profits. Every dime spent. If you buy the book, $9, and don't like it, send me a quick email. I'll refund your money as long as you pass the book on to somebody else so they can get a read. Daddy, Please Stop Drinking on Amazon. Once again, big shout out to Corny. She makes this thing happen every single week without fail. Not too sure how she does it. Well, not only do I not know how she does it, I don't know how she puts up with me half the time, because I could be a grumpy old man these days if things are not going right. I'm gonna have to go and see Dr. Eddie with my emotional breakdown sometime, because they're fantastic girls. So shout out to Courtney, shout out to Janet Kelly, as most of you know, runs the back end of the office. There's also my wife, such an amazing, again, bless you for putting up with me. We have Jamie over there covering Houston. Thank you, Jamie, for everything you do. Kate is our girl in Manchester, a psychotherapist. Charlie Kelly, yes, she's my daughter, the one that was estranged for so long. She runs from the Manchester office as well. Such an amazing person. and make sure I've not missed anything out before I get some emails. No, thank you for joining us, guys, on the show. We'll be back next week with 1 or 2 guests for you. The show's being uploaded now to Facebook and YouTube for those guys that are listening, and watch out for all the podcasts tonight going out and uploaded to a bunch. For now, from me and Dr. Eddie, thank you for joining. Have a fantastic life, and don't forget, start living the dream instead of dreaming of living.